Hello, hello. I'm thrilled you are here. Come on in. Welcome to the Clinic Growth Map Success panel. Will you say hello in the chat? Will you tell me your title and where you're located right now? Where are you located? What's your title? Tell us in the chat so we can see you and say hello. I am Nicole McCants, retired psychologist and business coach and your business bestie, and I am in Toronto. Hello, Adam from Colorado. Adam, one of our panelists is also from Denver. How cool. Yeah, you're going to meet her really soon. Hi, Devin from Missouri. We got Josh from Toronto. Josh, there's another panelist here from Toronto just for you. Jennifer from California. We have another panelist from California. Guys, I'm thrilled. You are about to meet group practice owners that are maybe 2 steps, 10 steps ahead of you that are going to share their success, how they did it, how they overcame the fear. They are Canadians, they are Americans. Some are in network, some are out of network for my Americans. Hey, Jackie from Georgia and Margot from Washington. And they've all finished my 6-month business coaching program and are just going to show you how they did it. But mostly, I know that you're going to see yourself in them. Before I invite them up to the stage, a couple of things. Will you drop the word group if you already have a group? Or solo if it's just you have not hired yet. I'm really curious who's all here. We've got Danielle with a group, Margot, lots of groups, amazing, and lots of solos too. Jennifer and Devin with solos and Josh, perfect. My team is in the chat. So as I'm talking to the panelists, they're going to be sharing all the things. We are not holding back today, but you're going to have questions come up, put them in the chat, and my team will either answer them or move them to the end of the success panel for the panelists to answer. They're going to answer, okay? So throw all of your questions in the chat. Before we get started, I have something for you. I'm so committed to your success. And I'm so committed that when you leave here today, that you see yourself in one of them and you leave here knowing deeply in your gut, in your soul, what is possible. So I have a bonus for you. Do you want it? Drop the word bonus if you do. Here's what it is. It says 8 steps to a high converting specialty page. Do you have a specialty page on your website? I'm going to tell you exactly how to set it up so it converts. And when I say specialty, I mean your EMDR page, your couples therapy page, your child therapy page. I have it and it's yours. I'll give it to you at the end. Amazing. Okay, so good. I see all of you saying the word bonus. I'm paying attention. Good. Before we get started, I'm going to bring them up to the stage. But as your host, Nicole McHitz, I just want to check in. Do you already know me? Who maybe listens to the podcast or has seen this face on Instagram? Let me know in the chat. Just drop the word podcast or IG or maybe FB, Facebook. Or maybe you're brand new to my world. Will you drop the word new? Hello, my IG friends. Oh, Lisa, thank you for that. I love that you love the podcast. I love chatting with you every week. Jennifer, welcome. If it's okay, I'm going to take 2 quick minutes, then we'll get to the fun stuff. I just want to share who I am because I'm taking an hour of your life review and I really want to make sure it's worth it. As I mentioned, I'm a retired psychologist standing before you. Honestly, that still shocks me. Turned business coach. I was burnt out. Anybody here just feeling either really stuck or really burnt out? I didn't know the first step to take. And then I got a business coach and that changed everything. But and there's one of the panelists also has twins. I had toddler twins at home and I was so exhausted from seeing too many clients. But here's what's possible. In 3 years, I grew to 55 therapists. And then, well, here's what I'm really proud of. It was automated and ran without me so I could be home with more freedom with Jackson and Lucas, my 2-year-old twin boys. And guess what happens when you create something that is revenue generating? Guess what happens? Eventually somebody wants to what? Wants to buy it, right? And that's what I teach you to do, is to build something that you can just let run without you, or to sell one day. But enough about me. I'd like to introduce you officially to the panelists. Cass, please bring them up to the stage. You're about to meet Elena from Colorado. She has a private pay group practice. You'll meet her in just a sec. You're also about to meet Alexandra from Toronto, and Jordy from Alberta, Canada, as well as Sharila from California. It is tricky, California, isn't it? It is, she'll tell you about this, I'm sure, highly regulated. So guys, turn your cameras on so they can see your beautiful face. And Sharila is in network, but she'll talk about all of that. Hello, guys. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome, welcome. So, Alex, do you want to go first? I'd love for you to introduce yourself, maybe with your title. And I'm curious, how many people are in your group and how long have you had it?
Yeah, so I'm Alex. I'm a registered psychotherapist. I practice here in Toronto, Ontario. And I actually grew my group. Well, I was solo about a year ago. And so I've had a group practice now for about a year. And actually, we are reaching our like 1 year anniversary this month, which is really exciting. And we have, including myself, 5 clinicians on the team.
So good. Jordy, do you want to go next?
Sure. So my name is Jordy. I'm a registered psychologist in Alberta, and I've had a practice for about since 2018, but started with a group practice about a year ago when I started this program, roughly a year ago. And we've grown to about uh, 10 therapists, one coach. So added
Amazing.
coaching to it as well.
So good. Okay. And Elena.
Hi, my name's Elena, and I'm an LCSW. I have an office in the Denver area and Boulder area of Colorado, and I started my group practice technically the January, or I guess, yeah, January of 2021, and I started solo practice like the summer of 2019.
And how many people are in your group now?
Yeah, we have currently, I just had to write it out because we've had some new hires and movement, go figure, right? But including myself, there's 12 clinicians. A couple of those are interns between the two locations. And I have had two admin for the last 2 years, and I'm working on getting a new one.
And two locations.
Mhm.
That's amazing. And where did you graduate? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I got my master's in social work from University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I did their online advanced standing program.
Oh, I mean, like graduate from CGM, the Clinic Growth Mag.
Oh, right. Duh. I graduated, gosh, it was like almost 2 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah, that's what
Maybe a
I'm
year and a half.
thinking.
Yeah, it was summer of a year and a half ago. I'm like, whatever
Yeah.
year it was.
Amazing. Gosh. And Sharila from California.
Hello, everybody. So I have a group practice. It's me and my business partner. We well, I'm a therapist. We have 4 clinicians and we have 2 nurse practitioners now, thanks to Nicole in the program. We have 3 locations. So we're in Rancho, Barstow, and Victorville. And we also offer virtual services.
Amazing. Maybe I'll start with you, Sharila. Why did you want to scale into a group? What had you make that big life choice?
Um, So, when you're in private practice, you get to see a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily like. And so, I know for me and my partner, we wanted to offer a different environment for therapists. We work with a lot of our clinicians, our associates, so we wanted them to have good supervision. I did not have good supervision at all. In fact, I was getting supervision and paying for the therapist development center because I wasn't getting what I needed. We also wanted to have nurse practitioners. We wanted medication management because so many of our clients um, were needing medication services and just weren't getting what they needed. So what better way? We was like, we have to have a group practice so that we can run it how we want to and give people what we didn't get.
Oh, I love that. And help them in a way that it sounds like you saw a gap in other group practices, especially the medication piece. So good. Yeah. What
Yes.
about you, Jordy? Why did you scale to a group?
I think because of, sorry, I think because of finances, for me, it was just really, I was just tired of working hourly and just finding it was frustrating. I was working too much. Um, so really just trading money or trading time for money. And
Yep.
so I was just like, you know what, I need to do something better so that I can be with my family. So I'm the one with twins. So we were trying to grow our family and I was just working my butt off, burnt out, had some significant health issues. So for me, it was like really a whole lifestyle change and everything for me that I just knew that a group practice was where I wanted to go. I had a vision and yeah, so finances, personal autonomy was really important to me. I had always found that it was hard to work for other people as an entrepreneur and somebody who's very creative.
Yep.
And so I was just like, I need to do something where I can utilize my gifts as a leader and an entrepreneur. And so then, yeah, so I went for it.
Totally. Type a me if you are like, yes, me too. I am, I feel that as well. I had a good life, but the amount that I had to work was a lot. And it wasn't until I became a mom, because if it was just me, it's like, ah. But then when I became a mom, I was like, wait, this isn't like the family life that I want. Alex, do you want to speak to that as a new mom?
Totally. Um, I feel like so I was doing solo for some time and I kind of got this is like the part of me that always wants to do more. I got to a point where I was like, okay, what's next? And about a year and a half ago, I already started kind of entertaining that idea of really expanding my practice and hiring another clinician. And my husband and I were also talking about family planning as well. And so I had this vision of, well, I don't really want to be like, I have my caseload. I'm working 6 days a week. I don't really want to be doing that, as I'm raising kids. And so we thought we were gonna have a baby in a few years. So I was kind of thinking about this, thought I had some more time, and then we were hit with a surprise pregnancy, and it was like, oh, okay, I guess we gotta accelerate the process here. And so literally within those 9 months, it was like we're getting this group practice together, and that's when I found you. And I think that piece when you were talking about being a mom and also doing this in Toronto, I was like, okay, like I totally like bought that. I was like, okay, I feel like this is possible. And so we got it done and yeah, within those 9 months.
I was so inspired by you. Like you would show up like so close to having a baby. Like it was just so amazing. And then of course after, yeah,
Yeah.
unreal. Elena, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question, but you can tie in the first if you want. There are so many limiting beliefs as we step in to be a boss, as we step into, oh gosh, it's not going to be just me anymore. How did you overcome those limiting beliefs to make that decision?
Yeah, very true. I definitely had a bunch of them, and I think starting a practice is a great way to identify what yours are. For me, it was really, I would say, very much a conscious choice that like I just kept telling myself that, there's no way that I can't do this. And I wanted to just kind of lean into that fear. And I think it also involved a lot of kind of self-exploration around like understanding I identify as like someone who very much has ADHD and kind of struggles with some of the executive functioning things. And so I just kind of took it as an approach to better understand myself and kind of leverage that in moving through all of the different requirements, I would say.
Okay. Type a me in the chat if you're like, yes, I also feel like I identify as neurodivergent or ADHD. Just it's hard to, yeah, with the organizational piece. Sharila, what about you? What were your negative beliefs, the limiting ones that you had to work through?
So I think this question, and this is not to sound like arrogant, I didn't have limiting beliefs. I feel like I struggle with patience.
Mm.
Like I want what I want because I believe, because I'm a believer in God, like I believe I can do anything. So I feel like for me, I was just like, and I'll give an example. When we started our practice, I was like, I want nurse practitioners. How, girl? You can't have nurse practitioners. It's just you and your partner. So I had to wait and understand the process full circle, 3 years later, I found this. I'm looking at this email where, and no, 4 years later, 2021, I had reached out to IEHP. How do we do this now for us to actually be able to do it? So I feel like not so much the limiting beliefs, but just patience with the process and just the navigation parts of it.
I hear you. I feel that so much. Type of me, if you're like, yes, like I know I can do this. I know I'm meant for more. I deeply know I'm always being guided. I'm so clear. I was put on this earth for something so big, and I want it right now. Jordy, what about you? Any limiting beliefs you had to push through?
Totally. So a few things for me, um, entering in, it was like I wanted to do everything not going into debt. So that was really important to me and my family. Um, but then you think, well, how are people purchasing these big spaces and doing the thing, right? And so for me, it was that was a big component for me is how do I do this without spending tons of money and going into debt? And I think I had to uh, overcome this money, like a lot of money mindset. And so one of the things that I found that I had trouble with was hiring an admin, right? And so I remember in the program, Nicole's like, "You need to hire an admin," and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, how do I do that?" Um, but I started to realize that I needed to start replacing myself in some ways and some of the things that I was doing, and so that was really important to me. Just the money mindset, and then shifting from working for five other practices um, because I thought that I had to have something steady in a practice that was already going. Um, right? So there was, I think I was working for three different practices at the time. And I was like, how do I get rid of these other practices? Because that's my steady income. And then I realized again that I have to replace myself in those, um, in those practices, get rid of the time that I'm spending on the other practice, work on my own practice. And so there was a lot of just mindset around, replacing myself, right? So I think auditing myself, auditing my time, replacing it, and then filling that time with stuff that was going to get me more clients. Does that kind of
Yeah.
make sense?
100%. I wonder for you if being with the community helped. For me, when I was in a business coaching program, the other people were taking the risks and I would watch them do it and like I'd like you go first, and I watched them be okay. And then it gave me permission. I'm not sure I would just do it if it was just me. Like, did that help watching your peers?
Oh, for sure. Like a lot of people would say, well, hire an admin, you're going to notice your ROI increase. And so I found that as I was able to replace myself, not doing the admin pieces, then I was able to see even more clients. So a lot of my time was taken up by doing billing and all that kind of stuff, and then seeing millions of clients, right? And so then once I was able to hand that off, it really helped. And so yeah, to hear other people talk about it too was really encouraging.
Yeah, amazing. Alex, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question. Everybody wants to know, and here, I'm sure, what is your top strategy for attracting clients? So obviously you've grown, you have a lot going on in your personal life with with the baby. What's working right now?
Yeah, so I think because Toronto is such a competitive market, we had to try a lot of different things. It really was trial and error. I still think Google Ads is like our number one key to getting clients. I will also say too that before starting the group, because I was solo and I had a pretty good caseload and I was working with a lot of teens, I took on a very kind of like systemic approach in my practice. So when I work with teens, not only am I working with the family, I'm working with the schools and the psychiatrists and the doctors. And that also allowed me to develop a really good rapport with these people. It's different from them thinking, like, oh, okay, here's a therapist that I could just refer like students or my patients to because I'm working directly with them. So I even encourage my clinicians now, if you're working with teen, actually with anyone, see if they're already connected to a psychiatrist and then, talk to your client about it. If you could just get on the same page with that psychiatrist, it would be good just so we can all be in alignment. And that's how you start to build a rapport with these other professionals. And I found that to be really helpful, again, for me building my caseload, but then also now as I'm doing supervision with my clinicians. And I will also say another piece too in the last year, this was like a harder lesson I learned, is getting rid of my leaky bucket. So you can have all of these really great like tactics in place, but if you have a leaky bucket, like it means nothing. And it was really, it was emotional. It was sad because my first hire, I really liked her, but no matter how much supervision we did and role playing as well, the conversion rate was so low, the retention rate was so low. And so after a year of trying and trying to figure out what it could be, I made the decision to let her go. And I actually feel this kind of like sense of relief wash over me because now whatever clients we're getting, even if we're kind of going with like the ebbs and flows of it, right? So when we get, a wave of referrals, I know that the clinicians that I have now I can trust that they can retain those
Mm.
clients. And I just feel so much better. It was almost kind of like this like weight just like lifted. So being really mindful, I think, of knowing what's happening in terms of what is your leaky bucket
Yeah.
and also not becoming too attached. And I think that's the lesson that I learned as a leader of like, oh, the human part of me, the therapist part of me that's like, I want to keep giving you a chance and we have, such a great relationship. But then, this business side of me that's like, but it's really not working for the business and it's not a personal thing, but at this point I have to let you go.
Yeah, and I'm hearing too, part of it is probably tracking because you were seeing the people come in order to know you had a leaky bucket. You probably were like, wait, the clients, the leads, if you will, are coming in, but they're not converting. So good for you for not being too busy to notice because some people are too busy, and then it just like 6 months go by and so much is lost.
Totally, 100%. And it was kind of one of those things like I couldn't afford to do that because I was going to go on mat leave. And my hope was that I can transfer all of my clients to this
I remember
clinician.
that.
And they were like, oh, like my clients were like, we're just going to wait till you come back after meeting this clinician. So I was like, I got to work fast. I got to strategize and, hire other clinicians. And that's been working really well.
And you did it all. It's been
Yeah.
amazing watching
Yeah.
you. The hard choices are hard, but worth it. That's the takeaway. So good.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Elena, what about you? What's your top strategy right now?
Yeah, I would say my top strategy has really been targeting local SEO. And really, I take an approach where I emphasize our clinical niches and specialties in that. And I spend a lot of time even just like staying up to date and continuing to learn about what's happening with Google and SEO. I'm fortunate that my dad is near retirement age and helps me with some of the tech stuff on that end. So that's a huge advantage that I feel like I need to name. But really, even like promote it, even rather like keeping up to date my Google My Business profile, really trying to maximize the reviews on Google. We get a lot of prospective clients mentioning those things, trying to target the reviews whenever we can so that they're not just showcasing me, right? And yeah, I would also say another thing that I think works in this regard really well for us that is a bit more unique is I've really suggested to all the therapists in my practice that when they're taking a brand new first time client with us in the consultation that they offer and kind of word it that when they schedule that first intake session they give the new client a kind of an extra 30 minutes for free. So we kind of word it as like it's a gift from us to you. And it's just the one time and it gives us a little bit of a longer intake. So that way we can obviously build more rapport. And, I think that that has gone a long way just even in how we word it with clients. I think people really appreciate that. So, yeah.
Mm. I hear that with sales, like surprise and delight. The more you surprise and delight somebody, this like law of reciprocity works for you.
Mhm.
That's so good and so creative. I have heard that about the Google business profile, guys. Like right now, it's really big at the time of this recording, because that could change, of course, is updating weekly. Do you do it weekly, Elena? So go into your profile and then you can do an update and even link it to like an Instagram post.
Yeah, exactly. And even having like I've started taking professional pictures of my office, even seasonally, and updating those, snow when the leaves are changing, summer, things like that. If there's ever a holiday, even if it doesn't seem like that big of a deal of a holiday to me, I make sure to go in anytime my Google, my business is kind of sending me an automated email about anything, I really try to always go in and make some sort of adjustment, confirming, updating, etc.
Amazing. Thank you. What about you, Sharila? What's working?
Okay, so as you stated, I do insurance. So mine is a little different because the insurance is you're in directories, but I will share some things that I've done that are helpful. First thing is I'm going to plug Nicole this whole time just because there's truth to it. Your website has to be amazing. When your website tells a story, they will come and they are coming. The second thing is Psychology Today, which they also kind of helped with, and you have to have a good Psychology Today profile that speaks to people. And then also, because I'm in a partnership, I am over like expansion. Anytime the insurance companies offer any pilot program or anything, I'm gonna try it. We trying it, and I will always be like our tester for that. So I'll give you guys an example. Tribe West is a company that we utilize, the reason you can see associates. So associates can be seen by them and they pay pretty well. I want to say earlier this year, they sent me an email. There's a pilot program through ZocDoc. You want to try it? Sure do. And guess what? There's an overflow. So that's also been super awesome. So anytime an insurance has a pilot program, I'm going to try it out because it can actually work, and that has. And I'm starting to see that more. A lot of insurance companies are trying more programs to see how they can get people in. They're actually doing preferred providers where they're actually allowing the providers, the clients to book if you're okay with that. So there's a lot of different shifts within the insurance industry. I'm on that like white on rice. So those
Wow.
are the strategies.
That's so good. I love this innovation. And so you're just on top of your emails. The moment they propose something, you're in.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, real
Mhm.
quick about ZocDoc. I've heard good things. Do you use that separately? Like, do you use ZocDoc in general?
So I don't, but what happens is because it's the VA, they actually have their own ZocDoc. And so you have to link your calendar to that. And then that's how people are able to book. But I will tell you, it started off slow, and I want to share with anybody whenever you're doing a pilot, it is just that there's going to be some hiccups, but you never know what's going to come from that. And it's been really, really good. And I think how they have it structured, it's very much controlled. We can upload our intake forms there for people. So everything is protected there through them because it's done through the VA. And it's been really, really amazing.
Amazing. Jot that down if you're American. Thank you. Jordy, last but not least.
For me, a big part of it has been just shaking hands with people. So relationships, I find it's like the more hands you shake, the more money you make. Um, and really, it's true, right? It's like, and I think having something to offer people has been a big thing, rather than coming off as salesy and, hey, just give me clients, or showing up to a clinic with a bunch of pamphlets. That's something that I did, and Nicole was like, "Well, no, do you think they actually keep those pamphlets?" Right? Because they've got a busy office or whatever. So I think a big part of my process has been just meeting people, connecting with clinics, going to even my own clinic, talking to my doctor about what I do. That's been a huge, huge game changer for me. There's so many clients that we get from clinics. So there's that building relationships, and then there's the Google Ads, SEO, and all that kind of stuff that we've just been putting lots of money into, and really tracking the client referrals that come in has been it's been a challenge. And so that's something that we've really had to keep an eye on, because then really being able to track are my Google Ads actually working has been a really important thing for me, so that I'm not just throwing money at something.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. Like,
so really tracking that.
yeah, your ROAS. So we call it your return on ad spend. How much am I paying? How much am I making? Really good. I want to underline something that Jordy said. Have you talked to your own family doctor? Like, when was your last checkup? My family doctor ended up being one of our biggest referral sources, but you want to be strategic and think of something that you offer that maybe they don't offer, because some of these doctors have therapists right in there, right? And I led with psychoeducational assessments because they were so hungry for those. Or maybe it's a reduced intern rate. There's something that you offer that your own doctor wants. So book that checkup. Yes, it's been a while, so it's time to book your checkup. And then literally just bring it up. She'd be, checking my heart rate and all these things. I'd be gabbing about what? My group practice, and it works. I think everybody wants to know, how many clients are you personally seeing right now? We'll start with you, Alex. Just before she shares, when you're scaling, it costs money, because we heard from Sharila, there's the website. We heard from Jordy and Alex, there's the Google Ads, there's the SEO. So for me, I continue to see clients. It was just a season. I was like, I'm going to see less clients, but I'm going to see them. So at least the clients pay for my life. And then I can take the money that the group practice makes and feed it back to the group practice. And then one day, there's this big snowball effect, and the group practice starts feeding you, and then you let go of the clients. So where are you at right now with clients, Alex?
So because I'm transitioning back from mat leave, I kind of promised like my OG clients, I was like, okay, I'm taking time off, but I'm gonna come, I'm gonna come back and we can rebook. And just like you were saying, I think to be able to, there's a lot going on in like, my family's life. My husband's going through a big career change. And so I've just been slowly getting back into it. And I'm seeing around 15 clients a week at this point. But the nice thing was that when things started to kind of shift while I was on mat leave, so letting go of my leaky bucket and then hiring new clinicians, the business was able to feed itself. So at this point, it really is, just sustaining the lifestyle that we want, with the hope to eventually kind of, once I stop seeing my OG clients, then, I'm not going to be taking on new clients. And I could just start to lessen the load.
And here's the thing, I bet you only took your favorite clients. I know we're not supposed to have favorites, but right? Isn't that nice that your OGs are probably a select OGs? Which must feel so fulfilling that you're doing such good work with the ones you love.
Totally. Yeah. And exactly. They're the ones that I love. The first ones that I message is like, hey, back from mat leave. And so it's nice. I've been seeing them for a few years at this point. And so it is that nice work. And it was like a warm transition back. It's not like, okay, now I have to panic and start seeing all these new clients and, build that rapport with new people. So it was actually a pretty seamless transition.
Elena, what about you?
Yeah, I'm seeing, I would say on average about 6 to 8 session hours per week myself. Even like I looked back at the last few months, and I think at the highest there was a couple weeks of like 12 client hours per week, at the lowest end like 4, but on average, yeah, 6 to 8. I would say, and they definitely are um, yeah, they totally are like my beloved favorite clients that I've seen for many years, that I just have like super, super solid relationships with. And I think that makes a world of difference for sure.
Yeah. For me too, I held on to a few because I was supervising and I still wanted to be in on the court, if you will, doing the therapy. Any of
Mhm.
you kind of doing that? Like you don't want to fully ever give it up, or at least not for a while because you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that because I do provide a lot of supervision. And I think, especially, we do a lot of like couples counseling, a lot of EMDR, things like that, even working with teenagers, that it really does help me, I think, at least at this point in my life, to continue to have that firsthand experience with clients so that I can supervise in a way that I feel, most solid about.
Mm-hmm. Sharila, what about you?
Okay, I just want to let everybody know, do not judge when you hear my count. I wish it was that. I probably see about 30 people a week. So here's the catch. When you do insurance, it is a little bit different. Insurance does take time, and oftentimes you are in a deficit when you are running payroll because money comes after the fact. So it is a little bit, you have to be a little bit more strategic. Also, we've not taken any loans for our practice. Everything is paid from what the practice makes and what we pour into it. So we owe nobody for our practice. Um, another thing in being transparent, there is not a book for this. So we have nurse practitioners, their supervisor, they cost. And so there are some things that we are still working out as a practice. So that's why I still actually see as many as I do. It's for that reason. And that's just being transparent with everybody. And then lastly, we finished the program with Nicole this March. So we are still implementing so much of what we've learned. And so the goal is for that to be less. We're just not at a place where we can do that just yet.
Yeah, so good. I was going to say something about that. What was it? Oh, yes. Aren't we lucky that most businesses, so my husband had a cafe, you might have heard this before, on Roncesvalles if you're from Toronto, and he had to get a loan, like cash registers, ovens, all the things, like a $200,000 loan. And guess what he did on the days where people didn't want coffee or gelato or not much of it? He just stood there. He couldn't see clients to fuel the business engine. Isn't it amazing, Sharila, that you can say, I need a bit more money. I'm just going to see the clients. We're still in a growth phase. I'm just going to see the clients. Other businesses just can't. Like they're just like, okay, uh-oh. Yeah. So it's amazing. Yeah. Georgie.
I see between 10 and 15 a week.
Oh, your audio's a bit.
Oh,
There we go.
sorry. Just because if I got a cold. Um, so I see about 10 to 15 clients a week. So sometimes I'll go up to 20, kind of depends on what the demand is, but I like seeing clients. I think a big shift for me is I'm not desperate for every single client that comes my way, and I like to kind of stick to what my skills are, and that's EMDR and couples therapy, and I love EMDR. It's magic for me, so I love doing it. And so that's, yeah, so shifting to more of what I'm niched at and really finding, um, yeah, just sticking to my niche is an important piece for me.
I love that. That's the freedom, the in choice that I get to decide like what I do with my day. I loved EMDR too. I felt it was way less exhausting because it was so, I use the word magic too,
Mhm.
magical. Yeah. Well, we'll start with you, Jordy. How has your life changed in terms of income, freedom, flexibility after being in the clinic growth map? I think people want to hear that.
Yeah, so it's really changed in terms of my schedule. So we just had twins in just at end of June, and so I find as a dad, like I'm so much more present. I can be so present with my kids. And I think for me, that's at the top of my value list. So yeah, I structure my day kind of around what my family needs. And that's a game changer when you can do that. And so in our culture where it's work, 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 I find we're counter to what culture is telling us, right? And so that's been a game changer for me in terms of freedom for my family. Finances has been really good. I'd say I kind of do what Nicole does, where it's, the money that I make for the group practice is going into building the business. And so I've been trying to pay myself less. So then, but if I do need that, you know, money for Christmas or whatever, you can take, I find that it's helpful to be able to give myself a bonus here and there. Right. And so then yeah, that's my reward. And I like that. Yeah, I got the freedom to do that. So it's great.
Mm. What about you, Elena? How has your life changed? Freedom, flexibility, income?
Yeah, I would say across the board, huge changes. I have a wildly different experience with work-life balance. Always working on that, right? But that's been huge. Also financially, I would say a year into or yeah, about a year and a half after I started solo practice and kind of around the time that I actually started a group practice, I was able to buy a house, which was kind of a miracle in my area. And yeah, I think ultimately just like feeling like I had autonomy to engage in work in ways that I wanted to, and like spending my time wearing different hats to kind of stimulate myself and keep myself engaged. And yeah, those were really big for me.
Alex.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the clinic growth map. I feel like just having this template where obviously there's going to be stress, and I don't want to like romanticize this process as though it's stress free, but having like, first of all, just a group of people that were just so inspiring. And then also the instruction manual as to what to do was so helpful for me because now I've built the practice. It's like all the stuff to get there. That's the stressful part that I'm glad I had that assistance with. And now I feel like I have this practice that we have great rapport. My clinicians and I, we do trainings together. It's almost kind of like we built like a little family, which I'm so proud of. And then on top of that, being able to spend more time with my new baby as well. Like it's nice that I can balance the work with spending time with her. And then, this is just the beginning. I only see it, getting bigger and then us potentially having more kids and having even more freedom and flexibility. But at this point, I just feel so good with the balance that I've been able to create with my life. And it's now I can breathe a little more and just kind of like reap the benefits of like, all the stress in the last year, being pregnant, and just again trying to build from the ground up.
Yeah, amazing. Sharila.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of everybody. Freedom. Um, Also some benefits to finances. We were able to pay ourselves. We do a lot, as you guys know, as owners, there's a lot that goes into it. We were able to pay ourselves for all the things that we do, like the meetings, all the stuff that's behind the scenes that takes up 72,000 hours. Also, I think just it was a calm to the storm. When you're systemized, you can breathe. I think the trackers, just everything, when you have a clear picture, the client inquiry is my best friend. We have tweaked that a little bit. Nicole gives you so many tools to organize yourself and to make it easier. In fact, I feel like some people owe you some money because let me tell you what's funny is we have our admin and they're virtual. They are using our stuff for their other practices. They're like, we told them about your client inquiry. And I'm like, where's the invoice for that? Because we had to pay for that. But even other people that are dealing with us are like, where did y'all get that from? Why do you guys do this? And so hiring has been so much easier because of the questions that you give us, the pre-screen, the psychological, the testing, all of those things have been super helpful, and the process has just been seamless. And when it's seamless, you can breathe and decompress. So that's been awesome.
Oh, that's amazing. Systems will set you free. Systems will set you free. Write that down, guys. One big thing is fear. I think there's people listening that they're like, I want that. I'm pregnant too, or I live in Toronto too, or California, but they're really on the fence. They want to scale, but they're afraid. What do you want to tell them, Alex? Or what did you tell yourself?
I think holding the hope because when it can feel really isolating making the decision to do that. And when you have all these doubts as well, oftentimes the people around us in their best interest are going to tell you kind of, you know what, maybe wait on that, or maybe don't, jump in. And it's not a bad thing, but I think that that can feel so like it's going to confirm those insecurities and those fears that we have, right? And so really trust your gut that you can do it. And I remember you saying too, like whenever problems come up, and they will when you're running a business, don't see it as this kind of thing where you just become paralyzed in fear. It's like, okay, this is something to solve, right? Like this is just a new challenge. And so let's get creative with how we're going to resolve this. And there's so many things happening right now. I'm sure like a lot of people have heard in Ontario how they're planning to, potentially allow master level clinicians to become psychologists, and with a lot of online graduate programs where there's a lot more counseling psychotherapists. So it can feel like, okay, well, if we're living in this oversaturated market, where does that leave me? But it really does allow you to just be creative with how to do things differently, right? Like AI, it's a great tool. Like try to be creative with that and you will stand out. So I think just really seeing yourself on the other side of it it is possible. There are challenges. It can be stressful. It can be isolating, and just, hold on to that idea that yes, it is possible to
I
get
love that. Yeah. I used to always think that, like, how can I, okay, that's a roadblock. Okay. And what do I need to learn? That's it. What do I need to learn? Because I know that there's a way through.
there.
There's definitely a way through, but what do I need to learn? And then sometimes it's like finding the right people, right? To get there.
Totally. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's also this, like with the clinic growth map, you get that because it's people who are also on the same page as you and can give you that little bit of like inspiration. And it's like, if you are struggling, at least, you have your coaches that you can, just bounce ideas off of. So you're really not alone going through the process.
Elena,
Yeah. Can
same
you,
question. Yeah. Yes, for sure. So what advice would you have to someone like who's on the fence, who's like, I'm so ready and I'm so scared? And those two things can exist at the same time.
right. Yeah. Thank you for reiterating. I would say if you're already, for people that are already in the program or people who are maybe thinking about being in the program
Thinking
or
about it, or yeah, thinking about it, or just thinking about scaling, like, okay, I want to hire.
Mhm. I would say it's really important to, the one thing that I would do differently is, like in your own words, Nicole, I definitely filled my container before I built it. We didn't really have any container. And so I have spent my time since entering CGM kind of doing some backwards things to just, reorganize and recalibrate. And that's made such a world of difference for me. And so I think my maybe words of advice might be really thinking about how to plan for somewhere that you're not yet. And that feels really weird and really scary, and not always so intuitive. But I think that when you have more rationale, whether for a calculated risk that you're taking, right? Getting your own office space or hiring your first, associate to come on, right? I think that it's really important that you are able to intentionally look down the road to see what systems can I put in place? What do I need to do in order to actually be where I want to be? Because there's inherently a gap from where we are right now and to where we want to be, right? So, yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Cass is going to bring you backstage and then we're going to pull them back to answer your questions. Put them in the chat. I see them all. So we're going to answer every single one of them. Okay. And if there's one more in your head, write it in the chat. Will you tell me, how do you feel? Yes, you. How do you feel? Do you feel inspired? Will you drop a word? Maybe it's inspired, maybe it's hopeful. I'm looking in the chat right now. I want to get a sense of how you feel. Who is ready to increase their income without the overwhelm? Me, please. The universe is listening. Open yourself up to receive. Yay! Optimistic, reassured, and Joey says inspired. Do you want access to the clinic growth map that they had? Do you want access? I'm going to drop a link just in case you're like, you know what, I have more questions, to book a free practice, a free strategy call. It's totally free, 45 minutes. If you just have questions about the clinic growth map, if you have questions not even about that, just about working through what we talked about, working through the fear, or even just the questions in general about how do I scale? If you were early in your career, book it. There's no chance that I would have hit the 7-figure mark without a business coach. Zero chance. We hit $1 million in our second year, almost $3 million in our third, and then sold for multiple 7 in our fourth. Zero chance. I just kept spending money on the wrong things. And here's the problem. I didn't know they were the wrong things because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I'm so grateful that I get to give you this clarity and a free call, because honestly, nobody really offers free calls anymore. And we'll let you know if you'd be a good fit for the clinic growth map. Anybody here already had a strategy call? Will you share with your peers here how it was? I know it's transformative, just the call alone. So if you have had a call, will you share? It's always good to support each other. Before we bring back the panelists, I'm going to share a mantra. We talked about fear a second ago. Yay, thanks for sharing, guys. Do it scared. Breathe that in. Do it scared is my mantra, and it has always guided me. Fear doesn't actually mean stop. I know it feels that way in your body, in your nervous system, but what if it just meant that you were on the edge, my friend, of a next version of your life? Do you feel that? Successful people feel the fear. I still remember, you might have heard me say this, turning to my husband, Dan, in the hot tub and saying, babe, I'm scared. And I feel like if I do this, most people won't. So if I do it, I'm 10 steps ahead. Who's ready to do it scared? Tell me, drop a me, because again, I believe the universe is always listening. Our words are powerful. Drop of me if you are ready to do it scared, because you are here for a reason. Something guided you. I know you feel that. Yay, Jackie. So good, Miranda. Did you know, you might not know this, most people earn within 20% of the income of their closest friends. I'm going to say that one more time. Think about your friends. Most people earn within about 20% of the income of the people that they hang out with. By moving into a community, for me, by finding I wasn't even therapist, because this is why I created the clinic growth map, but by shifting and finding people that were ahead of me, I naturally up-leveled. Join us inside the clinic growth map. You do not have to do this alone. And like I said, zero chance I'd be right in front of you if I didn't take the first step. Honest question, what is it costing you? Tell me in the chat. What is it costing you right now not making a different decision? For me, I was seeing way too many clients that when I got home, I had no conversation left. Anybody relate? I would get home to my lovely husband, thank God he's so lovely, that he'd be like, how was your day? I was just like, I can't. I just focus on people all day long. I had conversations. I have no conversations left. And guess what I would crave? I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. TV. It was just, and like, it had to be completely mindless television. I just needed to zone out. Yep, says Joshua. Thank you for saying that. So I'm not the only one. What is it costing you? Everything that you desire, do you believe this? I hope you do. I feel like you do if you're attracted to me. Everything you desire in life is already here. You just have to receive it and allow it in. So tell me, my friends, tell me when you've booked your strategy call. My team cannot wait to talk to you. We're going to bring the panelists back up to answer all of your questions. And while they're coming back up to the stage, I'm going to drop the bonus. As promised, a gift for you, 8 steps to a high converting specialty page. You're going to use this on your website. You're going to love it. Just follow the template. Sharila talked about, was it Sharila? Yes, the leaky bucket. Or no, maybe it was Elena, actually. We talked about a leaky bucket. So this template will help you a lot, and just follow it, okay? All right, Maddie. Maddie's going to jump on and read the questions.
All right, we got lots of great questions from the chat today. The first one comes from Soroya, who asked to all panelists, what are your thoughts on a self-pay model versus working with managed care companies?
Do you want to take that, Elena?
Yeah. So I have maybe in some ways a unique experience. I've never been paneled on any insurance. We've been fully private pay throughout my solo practice and my group practice experience. So I can't speak a ton to the insurance side other than my former experience in community-based mental health previously. But I would say in that regard, I really, really would suggest, Clinic Growth Map really taught me about Mentaya. I didn't know anything about Mentaya. I've always been passionate about really trying to educate prospective clients and phone consults and clinicians that are working with me and in my community at large, trying to educate people on the benefits and the cons, honestly, of working with insurance. I think there's so many people that don't realize some of the innate consequences of that, at least in the United States. I think ultimately helping people leverage their out-of-network benefits has been really huge. And yeah, we spend a lot of time just kind of like really trying to target that and working with people.
I would say one of the biggest benefits that Sharila kind of alluded to is that you get paid at the end of the session. So for cash flow, it's helpful.
Super helpful. Yeah. And I think just, I mean, as I understand, you have more freedom in terms of like your notes are probably quite a bit easier. I think there's a lot of things that just happen a little bit smoother, although it certainly is a bit more difficult to land those clients.
Mhm.
All right. Our next question is from Danielle, who asks, Sharila, who supervises your nurse practitioners, and then how is the supervision arrangement structured?
When you are, because I'm an LCSW, we had to use a company. Unless your nurse practitioner is a 104, which was just allowed this year, they have to be under supervision. So we use the company called Collaborating Docs, and I'm going to plug them because if you use them, just use our CTS referral code because I work with them. But you do have to have what's called a corporate practice of medicine, and you do have to have a managing service and agreement. There's a lot that goes into having nurse practitioners with your practice because of the liability. And so I behoove anybody who's doing that, you have to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's with that.
Oh, do you mind throwing that in the chat while we go on to the next question? Just exactly the website or whatever.
Oh,
Um,
sure.
yeah, that'd be helpful.
I can do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you can. Or we'll make sure we put it under the recording with your little code or whatever. Yeah, amazing.
Awesome. Our next question is from Meng, who asked to all panelists, I heard being a practice owner, you don't have much time for yourself. Is that true? Or is it true for the beginning of your journey?
Who wants to take that? Alina?
Yeah, I feel like I strongly disagree with that. I think that, no matter what you do for work, you're going to be busy, right? But again, I think that in my mind, I feel like I have more choice and voice and an ability to actually spend my time in ways that are stimulating for me, which sometimes I feel like I'm chasing after different interests that I have, but I really enjoy wearing the different hats in my different roles, working with clients of different kinds, supervising, working solely on my business, and being intentional about that is huge. And so for me, I would say my time feels very innately protected as a group practice owner, in a way that it never did when I had any other jobs. And I've had plenty of jobs I've loved over the years, right? But yeah, I would say it feels very much like all of it is my time. And I'm not working myself to death. Like a huge part of my own transformation personally in, even in getting into CGM and really trying to create more structure for the business that I didn't expect to take off so quickly. A fortunate problem to have, is really like I've been intentional about trying to kind of end that cycle of compulsive overworking and not just staying busy to be busy, but to really have my own rhyme and reason and rationale for risks I'm taking, how I'm spending my time, all of those things. So yeah, I don't think that I am overworking to a level that feels problematic at all, quite inversely.
Can I jump in about that too? I think there's something quite powerful for me to build my life around my circadian rhythms. I'm happy to get up at 4:30 in the morning, but I'm useless after 2 p.m. I know it's embarrassing, but like, yeah. And so I just built my life like that. And then I'm with my family having fun. Like I'm away from the computer after 2:30. So that to me is the, like time is freedom if it's that way. Okay, nice.
Awesome. Our next question is from Daria, who asked, Alex, do you have interns in your clinic?
So I don't currently take on student interns at this time. I do RP qualifying and I do provide supervision. That could be something that we do move towards. One of the things that I've noticed, I guess maybe in the neighborhood that our clinic is situated, there's a lot of people looking for reduced cost counseling. And so it could be something that in the future, if it's, I want to take that on. I think that I love supervising. I think that's just something that I haven't ventured into yet. And I could be open to doing that just because I find being in this role, I can do a lot of different things, just like what Elena was saying. So, but at this time, unfortunately, I don't.
Just to jump in, Daria, I did. My first six hires were interns. And in Canada, back in the day, we weren't allowed to pay them. I think you can maybe pay them now, but it's like I was never paid. So we weren't allowed to pay them. Most are not paid. And it was 100% cash flow, Daria. That was a dream. Remember, we talked about taking the money, feeding it back into the business, times that by six. Each of them are seeing 15 clients, so that helped me a lot. And Alex, I suggest it for you. I know you've been doing all the mom stuff, but I think it'd be smart eventually, especially if you love supervising. Hmm.
All right. Our next question is from Rebecca to Sharila. How is your business partner relationship set up? And is your partner also a clinician?
She is. So, Dr. Thomas, she is an LMFT. So how our partnership is set up is it's 50-50, and then we have an attorney that did our partnership agreement. So if you are thinking about partnership, you want to make sure you have your attorney and your outside attorneys looking at everything to make sure that everything is legal.
Good for you. Yeah.
All right. Our next question comes from Meng, who asked, does anyone use Facebook as a way to promote services? I've heard people use Facebook groups to get referrals.
I see you nodding, Elena. Yeah. Do you jump into Facebook groups?
Yeah, it's not something that I consistently spend a lot of time on, but if I ever feel like we're in a slower moment or I have someone that maybe is a new hire and trying to really boost them in particular, I'll dedicate more time to kind of hopping on some of those local Facebook groups, which at least in my area, we have a plethora of, and there's like always new ones coming. So, I find that that can be helpful. And just, I would say, again, for SEO purposes, in my own area locally, I find it really helpful to be sharing blog posts, on my Facebook pages. And I have two different Facebook pages for each location of my business because we have two different Google My Business profiles. So that's how that works best, at least in my area of the US.
Awesome. Our next question comes from Alice. For Alina, is there any ethical way to ask for Google reviews? I would like to do so. Is there a service?
Yeah, good question. I have tried different things and I have thought about that for what feels like an eternity. But I would say in how I started doing it was really just like trying to emphasize, and this initially it was just me working in solo practice. So I was reaching out to former colleagues, people I went to school with, former supervisors, things like that, and just asking them to speak like about me professionally, which feels a lot more ethical than asking a client directly to do so. I also I've done different things. Like I'm looking at one right now in my office. I have made little like small QR code flyer things that I frame that are like a quick way to scan the QR code, and then it'll take you directly to that Google business profile, and you can leave a review. And I think we say something like, we would love to hear about your experience, help us help more people, use this QR code to contact, leave a review, whatever. And then sometimes I've just had clients straight up ask me, like at the end of services, especially if we're kind of finding a closing place. There's been handfuls of my own clients just in the last couple of years that say something like, is there anything I can do to, kind of help you in that regard? And so those are scenarios where I feel more comfortable ethically and making that known directly. But I think that it really does happen a lot organically. And I would personally say I don't think it's wrong to lean into colleagues for those sorts of things as well.
Can I jump in here real quick? I think Matt, who asked this? Oh, Alice. Um, People are going to give you good feedback because you do really good work. And I would train your admin once you have one I love what you said, Elena. The moment they say, oh my gosh, she's so good, lean into that. Like, oh, thank you so much for telling me. We would be so grateful because you're not soliciting, right? We'd be so grateful for you. I could send you some info of how to leave a review, no pressure. And a lot of the time, they're in the energy of like giving feedback and ask for it. They open the door, might as well walk through.
Awesome. Our next question is from Camilla, who asked for anyone who uses it, how do you compare ZocDoc to Google Ads? I've wasted a lot of money lately with ZocDoc because clients book and then don't follow with insurance information. What am I doing wrong?
So Sharila, you only used it connected to the VA, and then Elena, you probably don't use it.
Yes.
I would like to. I'm curious about it. I'm probably going to try very soon.
Yeah, I only use it for the VA, so I don't know what it would look like outside of that. It's because it's structured through them. I think that's why it works.
I will say a lot of people in our program have used it, Camilla. Um, we keep track. I'm curious, tell me in the chat where you live. I do find certain directories are better depending on where you live. I've heard great things in Florida, New York. Okay. I find some usually in the East are a bit better. So that's really unfortunate that they're just because the clients book and then they don't follow with insurance info. I wonder if you need like, is it ZocDoc or is it your follow-up process? I wonder if it's some sort of bottleneck. Because sometimes is it a marketing problem or is it a business problem? Because I teach that if we want to be following up with every single cancellation and no-show, if I'm understanding that correctly. So you might want to think about that piece.
All right. Our next question is from Adrian, who asked, can Elena or someone speak to how they can realistically expect to start a private practice that solely relies upon cash pay clients? In my experience, cash pay clients are the small minority and insurance pay clients are the vast majority, very similar to the rest of the country and world.
Take it away, Elena.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, Maddie, specifically, they're wondering like for tips when starting a practice that they want to be solely private pay.
How realistic is it? Yeah, like to be successful.
Well, there's no way I'm the only person. That's really silly. So I would say it's definitely possible. I think that innately, like your location geographically probably does play a role. In my experience, as far as what I can speak to firsthand, a huge factor that helped me be successful in never accepting any insurance across two different brick and mortar practice locations an hour apart with, over a dozen therapists. I think was really emphasizing my local SEO and spending a lot of time, making sure my website is fast, paying attention to how it loads on a cell phone, really, prioritizing those call to action buttons, right? Staying on top of, those things has been huge. And also, I think it's necessary, especially with private pay, that you have to really figure out for yourself, like, what is it that I want to convey to clinicians, other, medical and mental health providers that I might be working with to whatever degree, and prospective clients, that like, I think we have to have a reason why we're suggesting ourselves, right? And I think that it can be hard, in a similar way that it can be hard to like raise your hourly rate, for instance. I think people can feel bogged down, just by the like financial burden for people. But I think, for me, again, just like really leaning into my rationale around educating people on the fact that most of the time you do have out of network benefits and there are other options, that I don't find everyone that comes my way actually meets criteria for a formal mental health diagnosis, even though I would be required by, insurance to provide you with one if we were working under insurance, right? And so I think, yeah, just having a strong messaging that you can feel confident behind when you're having those conversations with clients, therapists, other providers has been seriously important for me.
Just to jump in, Adrian, I would say about 45 to 50% of people in the clinic growth map, Americans, are private pay, or they'll be hybrid. And you probably are debating this, like keep your few highest paying in network and then build your private pay. It takes more work, of course. It's more costly. She's talking about Google Ads when Sharila probably doesn't use Google Ads because she doesn't need to. But so it is more marketing work. But then the benefit is you charge more, you get paid. I mean, I don't have to tell you the benefits. You get paid immediately, and you're not governed by a very negative relationship that we'll call insurance, right? But know that it's doable. 50% of the people in my program are doing it.
All right, that's all the questions that we have moved over.
Okay, guys, I'm so thrilled. I hope that you feel hopeful and inspired. And thank you, Alex and Sharila. Thank you, Jordy. And thank you, Elena. I'm so proud of you. I'm so, so proud of you. And congrats to Soraya, Morgo, and Jennifer and Jackie for booking a strategy call, and all the others are coming in. I wish you all the best, and I hope you just took lots of notes. Thank you for coming, guys, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. See you
Thanks so
later.
much for having us.
Yes, nice to see you
Best of
all.
luck to everyone.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you guys.
Bye.